Warning: this fanfiction contains blood, gore, murder, and cannibalism. Materials in this fanfiction may be disturbing to younger audience. Viewer discretion advised.
Twilight and Trixie stood outside Sugarcube Corner. Just then the royal guard appeared. The 5 guards landed near Twilight. "We got your message," said the captain. "Let's do this." He led his guards into the building. Twilight and Trixie followed them. It looked normal. "Check the basement," said the captain. A guard opened the basement door and looked down the stairs. He motioned that it was clear and everyone headed to the basement. It was empty aside from all the paper strewn across the floor. There was a table against the far back wall. There was what appeared to be a note on the table. A guard took a step forward. He screamed in pain as a bear trap slammed shut on his leg. He collapsed to the floor as blood squirted out from the wound. One of the other guards tried to open it. It slipped and closed on the guard's leg again, making the cut even deeper. "I'll do it," said Trixie. She used her magic to pry open the trap and levitate it away from the guard. The guard that tried to helped the injured guard to his feet and back upstairs. "Where's Pinkie Pie?" asked the captain. "I don't know," said Twilight. "It seemed like she should be here." The captain let out a frustrated groan and headed back upstairs. The other guards followed him. Twilight used her magic to spring all the remaining traps. There was about 8 more. She then walked up to the back table and picked up the note. She read through it and almost dropped it. "Oh, no," said Twilight. "This is not good." "What?" asked Trixie. "What's wrong?" Twilight inhaled deeply. "Pinkie Pie has Fluttershy." "Hey everypony," Pinkie Pie said, opening the basement door. "Look who I found," she said, pushing Fluttershy in. "No!" yelled Rainbow Dash and Rarity. "Let her go," Rainbow Dash yelled. Fluttershy saw the state that Rainbow Dash was in and tears started to form in her eyes. "Let her go?" asked Pinkie Pie, "so she can miss out on all the fun." Rarity looked at the straps that held her in place. Unlike Rainbow Dash's, hers were just plain rope. She pulled as she could. She could feel the rope starting to feel loose. "I wonder how long Fluttershy will last," said Pinkie Pie, holding the scalpel in front of Fluttershy's face. Fluttershy let out a whimper. Pinkie Pie moved the scalpel closer. "Leave her," the rope snapped. "Alone." Rarity leapt at Pinkie Pie and knocked her away from Fluttershy. Pinkie Pie looked over Rarity. Her smile had faded and her eyes had narrowed. Her mane was also now hanging flat and not puffy like usual. Her skin tone also got a little darker. "You." Pinkie Pie, now Pinkamena, said. Rarity looked at Fluttershy. "Run." Fluttershy started to move towards the door. Pinkamena brought her hoof to a button on the wall. She was waiting for the right moment to push it. Rainbow Dash saw what Pinkie was doing and thought about it for a second. "Fluttershy, wait," Rainbow Dash yelled. Fluttershy didn't hear her. She continued for the door. As she was almost out, Pinkamena pressed the button. The door slammed shut and whacked Fluttershy in the face. She tumbled backwards and lay on the floor. She tried to stand up and saw a red puddle forming on the floor. She reached a hoof up to her nose and felt blood. She brought her hoof down and saw red. Her nose and all around her mouth was covered in blood. "Fluttershy!" yelled Rainbow Dash. Rarity trotted over to her. "Fluttershy?" asked Rarity. "You okay?" Fluttershy said nothing. She just stared at the blood on the floor. Just then Rarity felt a knife in her hip, right by her cutie mark. She fell to the floor, pain shooting through her body. The knife was still inside her. She tried to stand but it hurt too much. Pinkamena stood in front of Fluttershy and held a knife up to her face. "Don't try anything," said Pinkamena. "You behave and I might let you live." Pinkamena lowered the knife and left the room. The ponies weren't going anywhere soon. Rainbow Dash was still strapped down, Rarity's hip was injured so she couldn't walk, and Fluttershy was too scared to move. "So that's the plan," said Twilight. "Any questions?" She and Trixie were standing outside of Canterlot Castle. "Yeah, I have one," said Trixie. "Why do I have to do it?" "Because Pinkie won't think you're a threat," said Twilight. "She doesn't know you've been practicing." "You sure this will work?" "Positive." The doors to the castle opened and Luna stepped out. "What are you two doing?" she asked. Trying to figure out how we're going to save our friends, said Twilight. Friends, said Trixie softly. She liked how it sounded and she smiled. You're going after Pinkie Pie, aren't you? Asked Luna. Of course. It's too dangerous, said Luna. I can't let you. You have to, said Twilight. What if she had Celestia? Luna was about to say something but stopped. She then let out a sigh. I can see there's no stopping you, said Luna. Be careful. Thanks, Princess, said Twilight. She transported herself and Trixie back into Ponyville. Well, here I go, said Trixie. Good luck. Trixie walked up to an alley between two buildings and leaned against the side of one. Excuse me, said a voice. Trixie turned around and saw a pony. She couldn't see who it was because the pony was wearing a coat and a hat. Yes, said Trixie. Aren't you the great and powerful Trixie who was here a while back? Why, yes I am. What are you doing hanging out with Twilight Sparkle? We're friends, said Trixie. Want to hear something interesting? She asked. Oh, boy. Do I? Said the stranger. She found out who's been behind the recent kidnappings. Really? Asked the stranger. Who does she think it is? Oh, some pony named Pinkie. Just then the stranger stabbed her in the neck with a syringe. Trixie tried to stay awake but soon everything went black. Trixie slowly opened her eyes. Where am I? She asked. You're finally awake, said a voice. Trixie looked to her right and saw Rarity. She then looked down and noticed that she was tied to a wooden slab similar to Rarity. How are my three favorite ponies? Asked Pinkie Pie entering the basement. And Trixie. Very funny, said Trixie beneath her breath. So, Twilight was right. You have gone insane. Oh, Trixie, said Pinkie Pie. Keep it up and I'll have to stab you just like I did to Rarity. Here. Rainbow Dash caught a glimpse of the rotting corpse of Bubbles near the back wall and vomited all over the floor. Oh, Rainbow Dash, said Pinkie Pie. Some pony's gonna have to clean it up. Pinkie Pie left the room. So, how'd you get caught? Whispered Rarity. Twilight asked for my help. Trixie whispered back. I'm here to help rescue you. Well, you're doing a fine job, said Rarity. Will you give me a minute? I have to wait for the right moment. Pinkie Pie reappeared holding a mop in her mouth. She went over to Fluttershy, who was cowering in the far corner, and dropped the mop in front of her. Clean, she said. WWW what? Asked Fluttershy. Rainbow Dash made a mess on the floor. You're gonna clean it up. Fluttershy said nothing. Trixie worked on untying the ropes with her magic. Now, yelled Pinkie. Fluttershy only cowered some more. That's it, yelled Pinkie. Just then Trixie fell to the floor and Pinkie whipped around. It worked, said Trixie happily. Then she saw the look on Pinkie's face. Oh. She took off out the door. Yeah, you better run, yelled Pinkie, chasing after her. Trixie got to the top of the stairs and ended up in the living room. She looked around for an escape but all she saw was a large glass window in the far wall. She ran to the window and looked out. Wait, she said, backing up. I'm not jumping through that. She turned around and stopped. Pinkie Pie was standing in the doorway, hell's fury burned in her eyes. Without hesitation, Trixie leapt through the window and rolled across the ground outside. She could hardly move. The glass had cut her but at least she was free of Pinkie Pie. She soon passed out from blood loss.